Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in to my live. So, do you ever feel like you're doing everything right, yet your immigration firm isn't growing the way that you imagine? Today, I'm going to share a few tips on sustainable scaling in 2025. So, we're just going to go ahead and get started. Drop a light bulb if you're ready to scale your immigration law firm in 2025. So, hi everyone, welcome to today's live session. I'm thrilled you're here because we're diving into something that every immigration firm owner wants to know. What's the secret to scaling your firm in 2025, especially amidst the political climate and the administrative changes that we've been experiencing and that we will experience in the very near future or that we've already started experiencing? So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you're putting in the work, but your growth feels stagnant? It's frustrating, right? Today I'm going to cover why that's happening and I'm going to show you how to turn it around. So we're going to go over a clear framework for growth and the knowledge of the pitfalls to avoid so that you can scale your immigration law firm in 2025. So, hello, you just joined. Welcome to my live. So, the first reason many firms struggle is an over reliance on referrals. Yes, they're great, but they're not predictable. And I can give an example of even with me starting my firm, even though it may not be as traditional as your immigration law firm may be. However, I still have clients just like you. And so I first started off thinking, if I were to be able to get a handful of clients and maybe they know each other, because even with practicing in certain niches, I know a lot of the immigration community where I live know each other. So I was thinking, okay, if I work with one immigration attorney here, I'll be able to get that referral and I'll just be able to, cover the whole county, be able to like help everyone in the state of North Carolina with their immigration cases. But that's just no, I no longer lead my firm in that way anymore because it's extremely unpredictable. It's unpredictable. So the second is inefficiency and client acquisition process. So missing follow-ups, having extremely delayed responses, or unclear intake processes can cost you big. So if your client, like have spoken about in my previous lives, if your client doesn't know, they know that you're the person to help them. They know that they want you to help them solve their problems, but they don't know how to get to you or they don't even know how to reach that help in an efficient way. Because I always like to remind you on this live, our clients, even my clients being immigration law firms and your clients being immigration individuals seeking immigration help, it's stressful even with this time coming on like the election. It's so much tension that can just be built around what we're dealing with in itself and imagining experiencing that. Hi. And lastly, I'm going to discuss not delegating properly. If you're trying to do it all, you're setting yourself up for burnout or getting extremely tired. And even example I have just seen today, and this is something that I would do in the past as well. And if you do this, it may be a good system for you, but in order to scale, I want you to actually imagine if it's feasible, if it's something that's going to get you where you need to be, or is it something that's going to keep you where you are now? And one of those things that I see certain immigration attorneys reaching into certain help groups such as Facebook. Hi. And seeking or helping people seek immigration help. This is a good strategy to be able to get qualified leads, but constantly having to go out to people and reach them versus them coming to you, that creates some type of resistance in your efficiency systems. So again, I'm going to discuss the over reliance on referrals, lack of systems for client intake and follow up, and inefficiency in delegating or managing team workloads. So, for example, one of my examples for um, fluctuating client flow is, imagine an immigration firm relying heavily on word of mouth referrals from past clients or local community organizations. While referrals may bring in quality leads, they are unpredictable. And we all know we did not go to law school to have a feast or famine mindset. Um, now I won't lie, I cannot lie. There were a lot of attorneys telling me in law school that having an immigration law, not I mean not having an immigration law, just having a firm in general is just so hard. Or they may have had an immigration firm and they stopped and they closed it because they kept experiencing that feast or famine. But it's so important to not have that mindset, because if you do have that mindset, you'll stay there. And with that mindset, that will have you doing things such as going to, small groups, being and exerting your energy, using your time to reach out and help people, versus having a platform or having some type of system where they can ask you the questions and you can have someone on your team going through those questions, determining whether they're qualified leads and sending them to the next step in your sales process. So with word of mouth referrals and constantly depending on that, one month the firm may receive 10 referrals, but then the next they may only receive 2 referrals. So imagine your firm receives 10 referrals. Now, one thing that is very important to consider, referrals are still very much vital for your practice. That's why it's very important to have certain things such as reviews, so other people can be able to see the transformation that you provide. How, and also too, word of mouth referrals. If you have a referral, they're more likely to convert because they were recommended, your service are recommended to them and they're using a recommendation of someone they trust. Hi. So, but let's say you do have 10 referrals and you close 7 of those referrals. Or let's say you close only 7 of those referrals because they may not actually be qualified for something, or they may have chose to work with someone else, or what have you, or any other, reasons why people do the things that they do. That's still not enough to keep a sustainable immigration law firm. And with so many changes in immigration law, you need to be able to have the capacity to be able to grow and hire other members of your firm, because you can't do it alone. And if you're only depending on word of mouth referrals and it's being in its feast or famine, then you're not going to be able to have the bandwidth to hire more people and take on more cases and make more money for your firm. So it just creates cash flow instability and it prevents consistent growth, just like I had just went over. So an example of lack of systems would be, let's say the firm uses a long, outdated intake form that confuses the clients, and many potential clients abandon the process halfway through because it's too cumbersome, leaving the firm unaware of how many leads that they're losing. So even if you want to imagine in a normal consumer aspect, how many times were you online and you wanted to buy something, but it was just too many steps, so you just stopped and you said, okay, forget it, I'm going to something else. Like it or not, people are going to do that with your immigration firm services, because there are a lot of immigration firms out there. And that's one reason why people may say that it's oversaturated, but it doesn't have to feel oversaturated. It's not. It's oversaturated with people who, or firms who are constantly reaching these bottlenecks in terms of how they can reach their client base and be able to transform more lives. And if you were to implement these systems, you wouldn't be a part of that saturation, right? You would be prepared. You would know the way, you would be able to guide them and give them that guiding light from the start to the end of their immigration journey. And that's how you even build referrals. That's how you build a strong list of reviews and things that you can post on your social media. But we'll explain that a lot later. So imagine losing a potential case because of a follow-up email was missed or your team was overwhelmed. That's the reality of so many firms' lack of systems. And we know as attorneys that sometimes ethical issues can arise because of poor delegation within your staff, because at the end of the day you still are the face of your law firm. You are the representative of your law firm. So imagine that the firm doesn't leverage technology or contract attorneys to assist with the overflow work. For example, they could delegate drafting asylum petitions to a contract attorney, but instead the in-house team takes it on, and it can cause delays in other cases. And and the thing is once you start to scale your firm and you're able to implement these systems, you'll have the bandwidth to hire staff. Even if you don't have the bandwidth to hire a full-time attorney yet, you can hire contract attorneys to help you with certain implementation tasks in your firm that can take off that energy load, or assist you in terms of helping you with certain things to be able to scale your firm even further without you exerting more work, or without your team exerting more work. Everything would have more of a balance. And that's what we want, right? We want to be able to help people and help transform their lives, help their family members, help in the capacity that we went to law school for, that we wanted to practice immigration for. But we have to be able to um, give ourselves that space to be able to grow. So, how do we fix these issues? First, you assess your current process. Where are your bottlenecks? So, um, with doing you may do consultations for your firm, and with doing consultations, you'll probably hear complaints from certain clients about a process that they may have. Of course, some clients may complain about the price of the consultation, but that's not is that ironically, I don't even know if it's ironically, but at the end of the day, your cost of your consultation can keep your lights on in your firm. You know what I'm saying? Your cost of your consultation can help give you the bandwidth to be able to hire someone to help you scale your firm. So sometimes you will get clients that complain about the cost, but as we know, we're still as attorneys providing advice, even sometimes when they're not even qualified. Our time is valuable. Honestly, it's valuable. This is what it is. But I'm saying in terms of, oh, I try to do this and I try to do that. It took me so long to get to you to put this consultation, but I was just so determined to do it. And if it seemed too cumbersome for them to do it, and they did it because of some personal characteristics that they had, or they actually just really wanted to work with you, imagine someone who had more of a lax approach about it. You could be losing so many clients because of those bottlenecks that you may have, especially in your sales process. Next, automate what you can. So if you have consultations or if you have appointment setting, make sure things are automated. Make sure thank you emails are automated. Confirmation emails are automated. Also, to make sure that when you're going to sit, that if you have something that you send clients frequently, whether the variable has changed, it may be a service or a different service, and you have things that you send to them routinely, that's the word. If you have routine activities in your immigration law firm, you should be automating those processes, because that will save you so much time. That will save so much time of your team members, if you have any, and it will be able to provide that space to grow that we were talking about earlier, right? So imagine not have to worry about the follow-up emails or lead tracking, because you have software or you have automations within your process that sends these things anyway. That just minimizes the time that you have to spend doing those administrative things. And a lot of times that's why immigration attorneys hire paralegal or legal assistants, because we don't have the capacity to do those administrative tasks while implementing immigration law, implementing the legal tasks that we need to work on our case at the same time is too much. Imagine if you had a paralegal or legal assistant that were doing things that you could automate anyway. Imagine the space that would clear up for them to do other tasks that you don't want to do. Come on, like, that's the key. That's the key to scaling. And if you really sit and think about it, it's like, I don't want to think. And because I know for me personally, in my firm, dealing with certain softwares or dealing with automations, it was just, it seemed like a doozy. It seemed like so much work. But then once you implement those things and you see how well they work for you versus imagining yourself or someone on your team taking their time, using an hour of their time to send an email to each client after their call. And that's going to take up too much time that they could be gathering more leads for your firm, so you can be able to determine what their eligibility and determine if that's the right client for you, if you can solve their problem. Finally, and then that goes into what I had just said, just invest in those tools to help you scale without adding that unnecessary stress. I can assure you that will give you the bandwidth to be able to expand your firm in the way that you always envisioned. So I'll go over these principles that we're discussing today one more time. So step 1, access your client acquisition process. Focus on the weak points. Focus on the weak points. Even if you have a friend or a family member that can essentially role play the experience or role play their experience of them acting as an immigration attorney and them telling you how this was for them or how they felt about it, you'd be surprised what's going on in other people's head versus your head as the firm owner who wants to get these things done, who wants to get these systems done so you can do something versus trying to actually tear it apart and make sure if it works anyways. Like, those things are very important. Those things are very important because then your clients won't be, if they don't have efficient systems like that, they're not going to be able to know how good of an attorney you are because they're not going to know how to get to you, or it's not going to be easy. It's going to be too cumbersome for them to deal with in their already stressful situation. So automate those repetitive tasks. Even if your legal assistant or your paralegal is already doing them, imagine if you automated those systems, how easy or how much more time that your paralegal or legal assistant will have to do other tasks that you wish that you could give them, but they just don't have the capacity to fit it within 40 hours a week. And also train your team to be aligned with your firm's visions and goals. So if you train your team to be able to see the common goal or the common mission that you have for your firm, they'll know. At least for me too, with my clients being very clear about what their visions are for their firms, I know how I can be able to express that when I'm doing my job. You know what I'm saying? And being able to express, okay, this is what this firm offers. This is the goal of the firm. Here, this is what we do. This is what we represent. And that's very important to be able to move in that way in a unit, because one thing that you do not want your client to even conceptualize is a broken firm. Because if you have a broken firm and they just gave you all of this money, that trust is gone. You do not want to have a broken firm. You want it to be cohesive. You want everyone to be on a similar track so we can reach a similar goal, which is to expand the firm and grow it the way that you always envisioned. And lastly, invest in the tools or the strategies that allow you to handle more cases without burning out. I know it can seem like a lot. It's a lot of research, depending on the advice that you may get from other firm owners. I know, of course, you may be in groups on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever where we speak to our peers, asking them what do they use for their firm, what do they use, Clio, do they use MyCase, just implementing tools so they can automate They can have things in just, a better, more efficient package than they were having anyway. But investing in those tools and those strategies allow you to handle more cases without burning out. Like I couldn't even imagine handling, um, uh, imagine handling 10 cases without, some type of software that they can be able to, you can relay information to, you can store their information, your team has that information, a CRM, that's exactly what it's called. But then imagine you want to scale your firm. You say instead of having 10 new clients, or instead of having 5 new clients a month, I want to have 10 new clients. If you're already struggling with that capacity at 5 without those tools, imagine how much you would struggle without using those tools at 10. It's just counterintuitive. Okay, so here's the thing. Every month you delay addressing these issues, you're leaving money on the table, and you're not given the opportunity to transform people's lives. One of my clients implemented this framework, and in months they started seeing astronomical results within their firm. If you like, if this sounds like the solution that your firm needs, book a consultation call with me. Together, we can create a tailored plan for your firm. Don't wait. I do not want you to miss out on transforming your firm and transforming your future clients' lives in 2025. So that's all for today. Link in the bio. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Bye bye.